Hi, I'm
Okay.
Anna Loza, and I'm here with Nadine Steiner, and really excited for this conversation. Hi, Nadine.
Hey, Anna. It's very, very nice to talk to you.
Awesome. I would love to hear just a little bit about you. Where are you? What are you up to? What are you doing? What's happening for you?
Well, actually, I was for 7 years. I was in the corporate world as a corporate coach, and later as an executive. And then I became a mom, and it was always clear when once I had children that first I would want to be at home with my small children. And it's two boys now, and I'm pregnant with the third. So um, and now I'm feeling also really the need to getting back into my profession as well, to somehow find a way to combine those two things, to be at home but at the same time being able to coach people. So that's why I did B school actually, and I really enjoyed the journey, and it has been so supportive, and really getting clearing more clearing ideas on how to set up my private business, basically, because before I was doing this in a company, and now it's a whole new story, it's a whole new
Mhm.
game. And that's why I have to somehow start anew, but I'm really, really, really excited for that journey, and I'm enjoying it a lot. And yeah, it's basically I'm doing with a partner together. I'm doing life coaching, and our thing is basically that we do mostly online coaching and email coaching, and it's about basically about every area in life. I mean, of course, I'm more from the professional side as well, but I mean, I don't really believe in this whole segregation is probably the word in English of private life and work life. I mean, in the end, it's just one person trying to do their best in life, right? So it's a whole thing in the end, and that's what I'm up to. Trying to set up the business for myself now.
Awesome. That's so amazing. I mean, I wholeheartedly agree that it's really it's just nice to have an integral coaching approach where it's the person who has some part of themselves that's working, who has some part of themselves that's in relationship. And I do find that, when we start to pull on one of those strands, if we start focusing on just one area of our life, so many other areas are touched as well. So it's just,
Absolutely.
like, where do we start with you, with that particular person that's coming to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I also think, you cannot be a person in business and then try to play a role and then do something else in your private life in the end. I mean, you know, for me, it's all about authenticity. I have been working in the corporate world where people are a lot playing roles, being the stern boss, and, the tough one, and stuff. And I don't know. I just thought I think it doesn't work. It's really about finding your authentic person and your authentic identity, and live this part in no matter what area. And so yeah, that's basically what I'm passionate about, to support people to really learn to hear their authentic voice and live by it, and have the self-confidence on one hand, but also to be really, self-loving in the way of accepting your limits somehow, accept who you are. You're this kind of flower somehow, and someone else is another one, and you cannot be everything at the same time,
Mm.
which is fine. And to embrace what you have and do the best with that, and be happy about what you got in that life. That's basically what really drives me. Yeah.
Mm. That's so beautiful. Definitely. Is there is there some part of your own journey where, like, where you really came to strongly discover that that's the way you want to live, and you strongly chosen that path because at a different time you were living somehow else? Like, was there some sort of turning point in your own life?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. There were many actually. I mean, it is usually not just one realization, but I mean, yeah, I was really involved from very an early age on. I was involved in other people's lives. I mean, in my parents' lives a lot. So I mean, I've always had this interest in coaching, even as a small girl. You know, I grew up surrounded by psychologists, so this was basically our dinner table talk, you know, about how people's development, personal development, shadow, and your child. I don't know the expression in English actually, but your inner
Inner
child
child,
and
yeah.
all that. So yeah, so that was basically what I grew up with, and I was really involved in this and interested, but also I was probably too much involved in this adult world so that it was tough for me to find my own identity. You know, I was really at a young age involved in topics that were not necessarily concerning a 13-year-old or so, you know. I mean, being involved in conflict with my parents and all that. So this was for sure a challenge, and it made it hard for me for a very, very, very long time to figure out who I am for myself, my own identity, my authentic self. And also, I think it also came together with my personality, because I was really driven always. I wanted to be further along than I probably was. So I didn't learn to hear my authentic voice until I was probably 27. Mm-hmm. And I had somehow a little bit of a breakdown at that time. And I decided to go to India for 6 months and travel and work in an orphanage and really be by myself, and not have all my identity that is usually there, and just be my own person, how people receive me in the end without the stuff around. And that was for sure really a transformational time, where I could really, really, really dive deep into listening to myself, and also self-compassion, to live more self-compassion, and having that time and that calm, and not all the voices around me all the time. That was really, really a great experience, and really life changing for sure. And when I came back, I mean, I dove right into business, which of course drove me away again from that soul connected lifestyle probably I had before. And then I gradually learned how to integrate it into my everyday life again. I knew how it felt, but it was tough to integrate it into my everyday life. Being back. And that was actually for several years I learned how to integrate it again.
That's so powerful. Yeah, that journey to India just being so pivotal. And
so, yeah.
I've also traveled to India, and I know that the difference in culture can really just help us totally shed so many habitual patterns of relating, even habitual facial expressions that are then different. And is it, is one of the things that helps you to get to your authentic self the fact that, like, did you go alone? Is it because that other people who knew you just weren't there? Like, there was no one who knew who it is that you are, so then you could kind of find yourself again?
Yeah, it was basically, I just realized I was really distracted. My husband was here preparing a night bottle for the little one who was crying. So sorry. I was a little bit distracted. Yeah, it was that I was there by myself, and it was, this was a huge part about it. But I also, of course, I did yoga every day. I journaled every day. I was a lot by myself, to really, and I've also developed a lot of, or integrated more, not developed, integrated a lot of techniques of, maybe Schultz, the inner team, for instance, and I started to talk to my inner voices and really integrate that part in my life, and to somehow start to integrate all parts and love all parts of me, and bring them out of the shadow and integrate them. And that helped a lot. And of course, just to be perceived as me, not with my parents being psychologists or growing up in a certain way, or not having this and that education or those friends, just being perceived as me by other people. That was so healing. I realized people see so much other things than I thought they would see in me. And that was actually really, really nice. Before I was really this tough girl and always, working hard, studying and working since I was 15 and making my own money and being a workaholic basically. And then it was more that in India, they saw, of course, also because of how they perceive women, more the softer side, and that it's okay not to be able to do everything by myself and figure out everything by myself. And that was really nice to live the more softer side and let that also grow, and more sensitive side. And yeah, that was for sure changing a lot for me. And also to learn, when you're by yourself for 6 months traveling in a country like India, you really, really learn to listen to your instincts. Nothing ever happened to me. I was always safe, but it was like I had antennas all over me, and I knew exactly, even when a situation was a little bit tricky, I knew it beforehand. I was ready for it, So yeah, it was amazing to realize, what is there in me, and I can just else than the analytical mind. And yeah, so that gave me a lot of self-confidence in a different way, in the softer way, in myself, on a deeper level than just accomplishments, etc. Yeah.
That's so fantastic. Yeah, to integrate that more yin side of our personality and to relax into it. And that intuition, of course, is part of that yin element of us. So what are your current personal practices? Like, are you still unearthing all these voices inside of yourself and bringing them from the shadow to the light? What's your current practice now?
Well, with 2.5 children, it's it's actually, what is the biggest challenge is really staying present. It's really, this is what I try to achieve, because everyday practices would be nice, but it's just not possible to do. Wanting to work, wanting to do coaching, or doing coaching, doing all the marketing thing for my business, etc. It's always working in the evening when the children are asleep. In the morning, you never know, maybe if I wake up early, I do meditation. I love meditation, and I have really quick access to deep level meditation, which is really awesome, and it helps a lot, and it grounds me every time I do it. So I have no doubt about it that it would be awesome to do it really every day, but it's just not possible every day. And so it has shifted more into really small islands during the day. I mean, this can be 1 minute or 2 minutes. It's when the children and I come home from a place or so, or we go someplace, I sit in the car, and before I started, I take, 5 deep breaths and try to ground myself. And, I'm really thankful that I know how those states feel. I know if I am in the wrong place or in the right place, for myself, if I am connected or not. So, I mean, for everyone who wants children, it's really great if you develop those skills before that, because after it's really, really hard. And it's basically, this is my biggest practice, to be present as much as I can, because your attention is scattered. Obviously, this is part of the job as a mom. And but it's really, really important to also have access to the nerves, or know what's going on with yourself, and to do the best you can, to also be in connection with the child, because if I'm not in connection with myself, I cannot be really in connection with the child. It's not possible. So this is the biggest part. And of course, this includes all areas in life. I don't eat a certain way. I don't eat only plant-based or so, but I really, really try to listen to my body. And if I feel like I need sugar, I eat sugar. Or if I feel I need a coffee, I drink the coffee. And a lot of times I eat really well when I feel like this is what serves me best. And to keep this presence alive, this is most important.
That's an incredible example and gift that you're giving to your children by cultivating that presence and taking those moments throughout the day, like you said, to really ground. And, that's really the work of the mystic, the awakened person in this world, to bring all of those things from our travels and our teachings and our learnings and integrate them in a seemingly wild situation, like with several children and a business and this and that. And like, then that's the real experience. How do we navigate then? And I just really honor you for having those practices. And so tell me, is that something that you would be sharing with your coaching clients then?
Absolutely. Of course. I mean, it's a huge part. I think we've lost so much of a connection to our own body, for instance. Like for me, body work is really, really important in the coaching, and breathing. And this is, I just think we lack this knowledge these days. We are in our devices all the time. And when you are in a device, you are only in your head. You are not really accessing. I mean, you cannot even feel your body anymore if you don't consciously keep a certain amount of attention in your body. But usually this doesn't come natural, obviously. So it's work really to do this, to keep this attention alive. And this is a huge part of the coaching I do, to really help people connect with their body again, learn to read their bodily signals. And, when I went to India, it's a small example, because I was so much like that as well all the time. When I worked in the orphanage, my Indian mom, where I lived for several weeks, she asked me, Nadine, are you hungry? You want to eat something with us? And I was like, let me think. And she was like, looking at me like, really? What you really want to think about that? I don't think that thinking will really get you anywhere. And it's like, this is, it's like, oh, how much have I eaten already? What did I eat? What should I not eat? Instead of just, tuning into my body and, realizing, I am hungry, or I'm feeling like eating something, or, so this was many, many years ago. And these days it's a lot different. And I think it's a huge part of the coaching to that any health coach or life coach can do to help their clients to connect with their body again and to access all that wisdom that is there, because it is, in the end, all the answers are there. We don't bring anything new to our clients, really. I mean, we bring maybe some ideas or some exercise or so, but in the end, all the answers, it's only about, unearthing and accessing and knowing what the body says.
Yeah, definitely guiding a person back to their own wisdom, to the wisdom that's in their own body, making that reconnection with the language of the body and the intuition, and helping someone get really adept at learning that. I love it how you said that really, as coaches, we're not really bringing anything to our clients. We're just, that's why I love the word facilitating, because the word helping sometimes can be like, well, we're not really helping, like, because you're so capable. I'm just facilitating your realization of your capacities. I love that. And that really makes for a really great coach.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, the feedback is good so far. And I think people really appreciate that we, that you don't put yourself, oh, I'm the coach and you're the trainee, or I will teach you how to do those things. It's only like, how to unearth and how to dig deep and how that feels, in the end, in every individual. So, yeah.
Your video got a little bit frozen. Okay, now it's good. Yeah, I love that. Because there can be the same wound that we're taking from our culture of, you got to strive over there, you got to climb that ladder, and only at the top of that ladder is that good and successful, and then you're a good person. So the same wound can kind of come into the coaching industry, where some people can put themselves higher than someone. I love this approach of no head higher, no head lower. We're all completely equal. And just, it so happens that someone who's in coaching like yourself, perhaps it's just your passion to talk about this, facilitate this, connect in this way. And it just so happens that you really want to devote a lot of your time and your heart to that activity. So we're just blessed to have people who want to do that, because, we're not higher or lower or anything. That's just our bliss.
No, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And there's also another part, that is really, that I love to focus on, or that I think when you speak about the social wound somehow, I mean, another social wound, and it goes together with not connecting with our body, is not really appreciating ourselves, or loving ourselves is a little bit of a difficult term somehow, because it sounds so selfish or so, but it's really self-appreciation in the end. And it was an amazing part of my journey as well, because I was always really a high achiever in school and in my studies, really, and in my career, but I was never really proud of anything I did. I always felt like if the best mark would be 6 and I would have 5.666, this is the system we have in Switzerland, I would be like, why is it not a 6? And it's like, man, what's going on? I mean, it's so hard if you, and so many people are like that these days, like really, really perfectionist. And comparing a lot to others, and also really being hard on ourselves with our bodies, and not seeing all the flaws we have. And this is another part, I think it also goes together with appreciating our bodies and tuning into our bodies, that we have more self-appreciation again. And that's just my biggest passion, basically, to bring people back to that, to be really happy with what they have and what we were blessed with. And yeah, instead of seeing what we maybe don't have, so yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes, that is so crucial. And I'm finding like more and more people are now drawn to this realization of just, whew, just take a breath. Like, it's okay where we are right now. We are okay. We're worthy of love, appreciation. And you're right that self-love can be such a difficult concept. In my work with tapping and EFT with my clients, we sometimes get to this place of speaking self-love for ourselves. And some
Mm-hmm.
people just start, if like you want to giggle, or they can't, they don't feel comfortable really saying that sentence straightforward.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, yeah, because we have been taught from school, from our parents, really wanting us to achieve that perfect grade, like you're saying. It does get seeded back then. Um, do you have, for someone listening right now that wants to, and they're saying like, okay, I resonate with this. This is me. Can you give us a couple practices to start loving our bodies and start just getting into this? With a couple of things someone can do right now?
Hmm. Yeah, first of all, it's really important to actually feel your body, to just realize what's going on and to tune in. And for me, it's bringing back a great feeling, when you look at nature, or when you remember a wonderful time you had, and you try to imagine again, or bring back in your memory, and activate it again. How did you feel in your body when you were so happy, or when you saw something so beautiful? And to really, for me, it is the heart and the stomach, the belly. And it's warm and it's tingling, and for me, it's those feelings, and to activate those resources again, and then bring them into your daily life as well. When you, for instance, of course, a great practice is gratitude. When you feel grateful for yourself, for your body, and you just tune into your heart, and you realize, wow, my heart is beating every day. It's just doing it. Or my breath is breathing me all the time. I don't have to do anything. And to just realize that, and then to connect it with this feeling inside, the gratefulness that you have, and to feel the tingling in your belly or in your heart. And to really, gratitude is not great if you're like, oh yeah, thank you for beating heart, and thank you for breathing long, and la 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 la. And you really, it's not about the words.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the feeling. You don't have to speak anything, or you don't have to. I think we speak too much and feel too little. And to really rather feel the feeling in your body that you have when you think, wow, it's true, I don't have to do anything. And it's also so relaxing to realize, hey, everything is okay. All those things, they happen automatically. I don't have to stress out so much about everything, because so many complicated processes take part or happen automatically all day long, in my body. And to be thankful for that, for instance, this I find is an exercise. If you try to bring that as often in your day, or at least once a day, in the morning or in the evening, and really feel into your body, and realize what that wonderful machine or a vessel, or whatever you want to call it, is doing for us every day. I mean, and feel this warmth and the tingling or whatever your feeling is when you are grateful or when you see something beautiful and you feel it again in your body. And for women who have had a child, I mean, I think if you don't write down this experience when you've had the child and what your body has done, what incredible miracle your body was able to perform without you doing, anything. It's just, it's a missed opportunity, and it's good to go back to those days. And even if you're fat after you're giving birth, and even, it doesn't matter. I mean, what incredible things has this body performed, and to really bring those things into your life. And another practice is also, this is more from it comes a little bit from a rational side, but to really go back to the end of your life and thinking back, if, for instance, if you had an illness, if you would be sick right now. I mean, my father, before he passed away, he was like, wow, I didn't appreciate what my body was able to do. And now it's sick and I cannot do it anymore. And I've missed the opportunity to really appreciate what I was able to do. So also looking back and realizing, looking back, like imagine you're an elder person looking back to your youth, what you all can do, how well it functions. And then it doesn't matter anymore if you have a little bit of cellulite or you have, I don't know, something. I mean, you can always focus on what you don't have or the flaw. Of course, you can always do that. But do you really want to spend your life like that? And to think if you've lost everything and you don't have your health anymore, how much you would appreciate it to have the body that you have right now, So those are it's a little bit more from a rational side and not so much from the feeling, but I think it's a thought that can somehow also help to change perspectives a lot.
Definitely. That's so potent to just realize what we have right now. And that's the thing, expanding the perspective, getting out of the bubble of our thoughts and our problems right now in this second. And just, I love that, definitely having this practice of being on the deathbed and looking back on our life and looking back at this moment right now. What if this exact moment was something that we're actually going to think about many times when we're nearing death? And just, having those messages to ourselves. And, you're saying that it's a mental process. It is. And for me, it brings up emotion. Totally.
Yeah.
I start to feel that. And just the other day I was working out and I was kind of like, oh, this is difficult. And then I thought like, oh, I'm so grateful for my body, because some people have like a surprise accident and they're paralyzed. And that's it. There's no more use of the legs or whatever. And I'm just having that innate gratitude for the simplicity of this functioning body, the miracle of this functioning body. Like you're saying, that's so potent. I totally appreciate that for sure.
Yeah.
Are you using some of these ideas with your kids right now? Like, are you starting to give them some like breathing with them, or just anything? What's happening with you and your kids?
Well, they're still quite small, the older one being 3 and the little one being 1.5. And but yeah, with the elder one, I for sure try when he's really, excited or overexcited sometimes, and like really, stimulated maybe. I don't know. It's
Overstimulated, yeah.
Yeah, overstimulated. I try to sit down with him and make him sit down in my lap if he can, and try that I breathe really deeply and try to tell him also, like, yeah, okay, let's take a really nice deep breath now together. And sometimes it's just a game, you know, and we're like, okay, who can take the deeper breath? And you're like, okay, and then we laugh. But it's like, it's for sure also like helping him take a little bit more oxygen and those things. And now I'm just starting to ask him at the end of the day what he was most grateful for, what he appreciated most, and to just try to end with a really positive feeling, you know, for him, the day, for sure. Yeah, those are
That's so
things.
beautiful. That's such an amazing tool to give our children. And I
Yeah.
feel like so often they will learn so quickly because it does feel good, and it is
Yeah.
like a game and like a pleasant thing, especially when you're taking him in your lap to do that. That's so beautiful. And just keeping that connection of the bodies and the emotions and knowing that, you know, they're safe. And I think right now there's a really beautiful generation happening where the parents like yourself are able to give those kind of teachings and give those kind of tools. I think there's more and more parents like that now. And it's so amazing to see what this generation of kids will grow up like, having those tools
Yeah.
from such a young age. So that's really inspiring.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think you cannot force it, you know. Of course, if your child is like, it took a while, like before now he's 3, and before it was like it would have been forced on him, and then it doesn't work, and then it doesn't feel good, you know, for him. And I guess, I mean, for all the parents who are out there and think, yeah, I would really love to teach my child, or like show him or her. I mean, it's not necessarily always possible, and then it's good to wait and not force it on the child or feel like I'm not doing it the right way. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of time. But now, I feel he's really open to it. I mean, for those small gain practices, yeah.
That's awesome. So with the people that you work with, are you finding that there's kind of like one type of person, if I can say that, that's coming to you? Is it moms? Is it, you know, someone who, like, are you finding some patterns in your work?
I'm not sure. Yeah, okay. I think we have the connection again. It was a little bit unstable.
Okay.
Are you hearing me? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It is actually quite mixed. It is a lot of moms, and working moms especially, also like moms who are really tough on themselves, trying to integrate all the different projects, you know, work and children and relationship, and trying to, you know, establish some sort of self-care as well, however small that is. That's a big part for sure. And but it's also people who have teenage children, for instance, who are in a different phase in their lives and trying to reestablish the relationship again, or like bring that more into action again, and finding the connection with their partner again. That's also a big topic. And I mean, it's what I would love also to who I would love to connect more with, but it has just not been so much, you know, my approach, because I was business and I am a mom now, but also women who are like not moms yet and in business, because I think this is such an important phase, and you can prepare so much, you know, when you are really using this time wisely. You will have so much more fun being a parent later, or going on with your life. You know, I went to counseling for many years myself as well. I mean, this has been a huge part of my life also, because I'm just interested also I mean, I'm convinced every coach should develop and continue to develop and really realize what's going on with them. And one counselor said to me once, You know, I was like, oh, I want to have children. I don't know, I was 30 or so, and I was like, oh, I want to have children, and I'm not even in a real relationship and stuff. And she was like, you know, you learn to set your boundaries now. This will be so healthy and helpful for your family later, because if you don't learn this now, your children will eat you alive. And it's totally true. It's like you cannot imagine, you know, and if you don't learn to set your boundaries, it will really be, you know, it can be really a frustrating journey. And it's like, then it's like, oh man, I didn't imagine it to be like that. So I would love to connect with this group of people also, like women or men who want to have a family later and are engaged in business right now, or like trying to find their path and not have a family yet. But this is not so much my clientele yet.
I love that, because that's so valuable to have that teaching coming from someone who's living as a mother. You know, we don't have that. We don't really have that passing down of the wisdom of teaching us how to be a parent. And I think that's why so many moms or parents are struggling so much and feeling lonely and feeling like, where did my self go? Where did my life go? And it's amazing to have those tools before. So it's kind of like this pre-parental counseling, this parenting mentorship. I think there's a huge amount of people that would just really benefit from that, to get those skills from someone who navigates it with wisdom and with clarity and with presence to the greatest extent possible. I think that's incredibly useful. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, if you don't do it, I think you will pass on your patterns. You know, you cannot avoid this. You have the best intention. Every parent has the best intention, of course, but you will not be able to avoid it, to pass on your patterns if you don't work on them beforehand, because to work on your patterns while you have children is just impossible. You don't have the energy, you know. So it's I mean, impossible is maybe a little bit a strong word and discouraging, but I mean, it is really, if you can work on them beforehand, it will make parenting so much easier. And yeah, I mean, I have to say, I grew up in a quite chaotic, you know, surrounding, and I mean, really inspirational and really, yeah, inspiring. But I mean, I have to say, it was so worth to work on everything beforehand, because now we have really a stable life, and we have, you know, my husband and I, we have a healthy relationship, and it's like he's his own person, I'm my own person. We let each other live. We try to find our way together in parenting, which works really, really good. And I think all this is somehow the result of all the work that we put in beforehand. It's also, we argued really a lot before we had children. You know, we've tried to figure out how we want to live and what our values are, and you know, all that. But now it is not, you know, it's fine. We know who we are, and we know we let each other really be our own person. And you can only do that if you're really living your authentic self, and if you're embracing your personality, and embracing the person that you have in front of you in your partner, and not trying to change him or her. And you can only do that if you've worked on those things beforehand, I think, because children make it more difficult.
Yeah.
They're like an accelerator. That's why so many people split in the first 2 years when they have children, because it's like all those issues that would have popped up maybe in 5 years or 10 years, they pop up in 2 years now, because it's like an accelerator.
Wow, I just got chills when you said that. That's amazing. So tell us, like, we'll link to your work and to your website and everything here, but just tell us a little bit, if someone's listening and just going like, wow, I need this, I want to work with Nadine, where can they come to, just like, what are you offering? What are you available for right now? Are you taking clients?
Yeah, I am actually taking clients. I have really limited time because I work only in the evenings, or when I can organize, you know, my parents, or I'm like my mom or my parents-in-law to come and look after the children. But usually in the evenings I work. And I didn't catch the whole question you asked. If I take on clients, you asked, or what I am offering.
Yeah, well, so I just said that we're
Yeah.
going to link to your work. I think there's a bit of delay. So we're going to link to your work, and just what can people come to you for?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I mean, my the focus is on learning self compassion, self the English word just fell out of my brain, sorry, but like self-appreciation, because I think this is the foundation for everything, to really tune into your own self, to embrace who you are, to learn that, to get a really great connection with your body, to tune on your intuitive guidance system. Also, this is with a lot of body work and a lot of breathing work, but of course it starts all with, obviously, in coaching, with uh, you know, an open heart and an open talk and questions that should help to dig deeper and find out what really the issue is, because a lot of times it's something different than people think it is. And it is actually a wide palette of psychological tools, of body work, of also meditation and relaxation practices that we work with. And usually we start with a vision also, where people want to go, you know, where they want to be, and how they would feel, if what it would feel like if their issue would be resolved, or if they would have reached their goal or their best life. And we try to establish that feeling in the body, and so that you can connect to that feeling always. And that's basically the starting point. And then we do this with ongoing work. We try to come closer to that.
That's so amazing. Thank you so much, Nadine, for being a part of this and for offering this to people. This is so useful, and I'm just really grateful that you're out there doing this work.
Thank you very much for doing yours. You know, I've checked out your website. It's really, really cool what you're offering. I love all your writing. It really speaks to the heart. It's awesome.
Thank you so much.
It is. Okay.